Hey, good people. Welcome to Melanated Vibrations, a new show that celebrates the diversity and richness of Black culture. Join us as we delve into our individual mental health and overall mental health of our community. From the latest trends to the timeless coping mechanisms, we'll showcase the best of what it means to be mentally healthy. So sit back, relax, and get ready to feel the vibrations of Black excellence. Let's get started.
Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to Melanated Vibrations. It's your girl Dom, host of Melanated Vibrations. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I don't know about y'all, but it's cold as shit outside. I don't know about y'all. I don't know if this is the weather y'all like. Y'all get into this, but I am freezing. Not my weather. Let me just put that out there. It's not my weather at all. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I hope you guys were able to get out. And even though it was cold and raining yesterday, and I think the day before, I hope you guys got out to get some fresh air. As we have lost our daylight savings, as I've told you guys before, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, as they say, is a real thing. And this is the time of year that it begins to affect people because we are losing sunlight. I believe the sun sets at 4:38 every day. And I get off at 4:30. So by the time I am even a portion of being home, it is already nighttime. So I hope you guys were able to get out. Hey, Hannibal, I hope you guys were able to get out and semi kind of enjoy, whatever it was. Hey, sis. Shout out to my sis, Adairess, the other half of Melanated Vibrations. Hey, be right back. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Out all weekend. That's what I'm saying. So did I go out Friday? I didn't go out Friday, but I did go out Saturday and Sunday. Hey, Say. So I hope you guys are able to get out into the weather, get out there, be one with nature. Real quick breaking news announcement. The Eagles is 10-1. Y'all knew I was coming with it. Like 10-1, first team to secure a spot with the playoffs. Nothing too crazy. Something light, for all those haters out there, all those other fans and stuff. Not too much on the Eagles. So shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles for clinching the first spot in the playoffs and for being the only team since 2005, I believe, that they said had a record like this as being 10-1. So shout out to my boys. Shout out to all the Philadelphia Eagle fans. We out here. And I'm going to be tailgating that game on, with the 49ers on Sunday. Yeah, I got time. Got time. I'm going to be tailgating because I'm going to get them hell. Just put that out there. That's what we're doing. Yes, if you have just joined the stream, please make sure you share the stream. Make sure you are tagging your folks in. It's going to be a really good episode tonight. I'm super excited. So make sure you're tagging your folks in. We are on Facebook. We are on YouTube. Make sure you are subscribing to the Big Exclusive Network. Make sure that you are tagging your folks in. When you come every week, make sure you bring 1 or 2 people with you each and every time. So thank you all for joining. Again, I hope everyone had a great weekend. If you're just joining, tag your friends in. Make sure you share the stream. So today I am setting my intention. I am bringing into this space. What am I bringing into this space? I am bringing hope into the future. I am bringing an open mind for what the future has ahead. Drop in the comments what you guys are bringing into this space. How are you setting your attention? Also, how was y'all Thanksgiving? For those that celebrate it, for those of us that don't celebrate none of these pagan holidays, but we here for the free food. Shout out to my sis who dropped food off. I was having a very emotional Thanksgiving. And yeah, Uber was like hella high. So I was like, I'm not paying to go to nobody's house. So I stayed home and my good sis bought me some food. Yes, as Big Exclusive said, we are pleased to announce that we are super chat enabled. Look at us out here on YouTube monetizing and stuff. So click the $sign. No donation is too small. We appreciate all that you can give and do for the Big Exclusive Network. So how was y'all Thanksgiving? Mine was cool. Again, like I said, my sister dropped off some food to me the next day. I went to my neighbor's house, got a plate over there, and I said, let me watch movies all day. I think I watched The Temptations, and yes, that's a good thing, Big Exclusive. I think I watched The Temptations. You know how like y'all be on Tubi? All right, so for all my people out there that watch Tubi, like I ain't too good for Tubi. So you know, Tubi's whole thing is the rabbit hole. Like that's their whole whatever, right? Like that's their logo. That's what they stand by. Like you watch one movie, you're gonna go down a rabbit hole because it's gonna be all these other movies. It literally is that. So I went down the rabbit hole one Thanksgiving, had me a plate from my neighbors, and then, like I said, my sister dropped off some food, and it was delicious. I ate that for about 2 days. Y'all shouldn't still be eating Thanksgiving food. I'm not judging y'all. I'm just saying. I don't think the gastrointestinal doctor would say that y'all should still be eating Thanksgiving food. That's just me. That's just me. Hey, Big Row. That's just my opinion. Now, if y'all still eating it, I'm just saying, like, I think that was Thursday. Today's Monday. I think we should wrap it up. I think today it's like 3 to 5 business days, but weekends are included. I think we should be done with it. But I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I hope that for those that may have had an emotional Thanksgiving like me, I hope that you were able to get through it. I hope that you took the time to process those emotions, and that, you realize that while, again, these people are no longer here with us, or whatever you may have been feeling for whatever reason, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And for every storm that we go through, that is literally what we are doing. We are going through it. We are not to stay there. So I hope that was helpful for someone. So this evening, I want to talk about intrusive thoughts. Now, and that's what I'm saying, Big Road. Like by Monday, that gas gonna be gassing. Like y'all can't keep eating that mac and cheese like that. Like, and I know we love mac and cheese. I know that's a staple dish in the African American community. It's a side. It's not an entree. To my folks out there from other cultures, it's not an entree. Okay, it's not the main dish. It's not the main course. It is a side. Okay. And so I just feel like after eating it from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now Monday, so that's why I said 3 to 5 business days, including weekends, go on and throw that mac and cheese away. Go on throw them yams away. You've made everything you can make out of that turkey. Y'all done had turkey sandwiches and turkey, what they call that, soup, and like chicken noodle soup, but it was turkey noodle soup. Yeah, I think we done with the turkey. I don't know, turkey salad. Like I don't know how many more ways y'all can slice and dice turkey. So go on and throw that away. Don't freeze it. Put it in the trash. That's all I got. So Big Rosie, you got me going on a spiral. I'm just saying, but you're right. That gas gonna be deadly after that many days. All right, so we're gonna talk about intrusive thoughts. So what are intrusive thoughts? Now I know intrusive thoughts, we hear the terms a lot. I'm glad to hear that. Be right back. Like, yeah, no more leftovers. There shouldn't be no more leftovers at this point. Like, stop. Just put it in the trash. We hear so many things. You guys know by now I'm really big on words that are just thrown out there on social media. And people just use them and then they overuse them, like narcissist and gaslighting and love bombing and intrusive thoughts. I be on social media. I read comments. Comments are like my favorite things to do. It gives me so much joy to laugh at other people in comments, the back and forth that be happening, because I'm not getting involved in it. I'm just reading it. That's it. But it's always amazing when people that have no skill in mental health at all, or they don't really know too much about mental health, they start to make comments. And they sometimes are applying it the wrong way. And so, I always have to come here and give y'all a little piece of education, and y'all take that with y'all, put it in y'all pockets, and y'all hold on to it for the next time you're in a social media debate. You could be like Dominique said. And then if you don't believe me, you just Google it. Make sure it's a credible source, though. Wikipedia, I don't know. So what is an intrusive thought? So, it seems to come out of nowhere, right? It's a strange, disturbing thought or a troubling image that pops into your mind. It might be violence. It might be sexual, or a reoccurring fear that you'll do something inappropriate or embarrassing. So whatever the content is, it's often upsetting and may bring on a feeling of worry or shame. The more you try to push the thought from your mind, the more it persists. So I just want to put a note there. I know a lot of times when you have an intrusive thought, right, you're like, just get out my head, get out my head, get out my head. Let me just push it out, push it out, push it out. I'm here to tell you, Google's here to tell you, doctors and psychologists, psychiatrists that have done this research, it actually makes it worse when you try to push the thoughts out of, when you try to push the thought out of your head. Royalty, I see your comment. I'm not going to address any of your comments on this show, but if you decide that you still want to put it in the chat, you are more than welcome to. And so intrusive thoughts, as they are called, are thought to affect 6 million Americans. Just that number alone, 6 million. 6 million Americans, according to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. So there are 6 million people walking around with intrusive thoughts, all types of intrusive thoughts. Sometimes intrusive thoughts are associated with a mental health disorder, such as obsessive compulsive disorder. For all you guys that be like, I got OCD. Stop it. Just because you like to clean does not mean you have OCD. Like, stop. We're going to get into that. That's another episode. Or again, it's associated with a mental health disorder such as OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder, where thoughts become so bothersome that they prompt repetitive behaviors or compulsion to try to prevent them from from occurring. So you ever watch, it used to be a show, I think it was on like TLC, and it was based on people that had OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder. Sometimes when you see people with OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder, again, their brain is telling them, like, it will bother them, that they have to be prompted to do a repetitive behavior or have some type of compulsion. So you may see somebody like turn a light switch a few times before they walk out the room, or turn the handle, or wash their hands several times, or they're getting in a car, they'll pull on the door handle a few times before they actually get in a car, or they may actually get in a car and check their mirrors and then continue to do that. And it's a repetitive thing because they're having an intrusive thought that is causing them to have to see through this repetitive behavior. You can also see or have intrusive thoughts if you've ever suffered from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. We know a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder can come from when people, unfortunately, go fight for this country or any other country. They go to war, they come back with PTSD. PTSD can be had if you live in a neighborhood. We call that, vicarious trauma, right? Or it's a form of trauma. Like, so if you live in a neighborhood, let's just say Philly, let's just say you live in Philly where there is a huge gun violence. Unfortunately, it kind of takes over the city. I call Philadelphia Gotham City, but there is no Batman. With that, because you live or you constantly see it on the news or you see it on social media, like pages like No Gun Zone or things like that, no, you haven't experienced the loss of anyone from gun violence or, maybe even poverty or whatever, that the city is facing. You can also have vicarious trauma where basically you are living vicariously through those people that have experienced that thing. So you can also have symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder from having vicarious trauma. So post-traumatic stress disorder, which can be triggered again by life-threatening or extremely stressful events such as an accident, a violent attack, but many people who experience these thoughts don't have a mental health disorder. So that's the caveat. Just because you have an intrusive thought does not mean you have a mental health disorder. Some people have mental health disorders, and so their intrusive thoughts run crazy. Some people have OCD. Some people have post-traumatic stress disorder. Some people have really bad anxiety, which, intrusive thoughts come there. Some people just have no diagnosed mental health disorder, but you still will have an intrusive thought. So intrusive thoughts are often triggered by stress and anxiety, stress, or anxiety. And they may also be a short-term problem brought on by some biological factors, such as a hormone shift. For example, a woman might experience an uptick in intrusive thoughts after the birth of a child. That's why they call it, postpartum. So that's that. Royalty, I'm not going to hurt your feelings online because I don't do stuff like that. But if you would like to have a conversation, you're more than welcome to DM me, and I can tell you why I do not want your comments on my show. And so sometimes when women have babies, they get postpartum because your body now has an influx of all of these hormones raging through your body. And so your body is trying to figure out what is happening. You just gave birth to something. It should be the most amazing thing ever. You just want to love on that child. A lot of women, unfortunately, if they have intrusive thoughts or they suffer from postpartum depression, they may not even want to be near that child. They may have thoughts of harming or, disposing of that child, all of those things. So although, intrusive thoughts is not just for people that have mental health disorder, let's talk about the brain and kind of how it happens. So intrusive thoughts is a result of brain activity. So the brain generates an estimated 6,200 thoughts per day. Can you imagine thinking 6,200 thoughts per day? I can't either. Not all of those thoughts will be relevant or even accurate. You could even consider some of them junk thoughts, right? Meaning that they are random and meaningless. So sometimes we may have a lot of things that go through our heads and they are junk thoughts. And you have to be able to decipher what is what. So intrusive thoughts can be about anything, but negative intrusive thoughts are the ones that tend to be the most upsetting. Now, these negative thoughts are often about topics that you find disgusting, disturbing, or scary. They may be violent, sexual, or otherwise go against your values. So how do you identify an intrusive thought? Like, how do you know if that's what it is? So how can you tell if you're experiencing an intrusive thought? Here are some signs to look for. So if the thought is unusual for you, right? An intrusive thought is usually very different from your typical thoughts. So for example, it might be out of your character to be violent, right? You might have a violent thought or violent thoughts. That's out of character for you. That's not a usual thought. I mean, unless you are a serial killer or something like that. I'm not judging nobody out there. I'm just saying Jeffrey Dahmer was a real person. The thought is bothersome. So if a thought is disturbing and it's something that you want to push out of your mind, it might be considered an intrusive thought. If the thought feels hard to control, intrusive thoughts are often repetitive and they will not go away. So if you have these thoughts and they feel like they are taking over your brain and you're trying to push them out and they just keep coming and they won't go away, 9 times out of 10, it's an intrusive thought. The more you think about it, the more anxious you get and the worse the thought gets. So instead of fighting intrusive thoughts, it is better to learn to live with them. When these thoughts emerge, try taking the following steps. So there are people that have OCD, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, who unfortunately cannot control their intrusive thoughts. For the people that do not have a diagnosed mental health disorder, like there's just nothing wrong with you at all. And there are people out there like that, but you may have intrusive thoughts. Again, trying to just push it out will make it worse. So what is suggested from Dr. Williams is that you identify the thought as intrusive. Think to yourself. So I had a client some years ago that had OCD, really bad OCD, and her intrusive thoughts were very intense. And so what I would say to her is what I'm about to tell you guys is that when you have an intrusive thought, you have to make the decision, is this how I normally think? Is this actually what you believe? Is this fact or is it fiction? So when you have an intrusive thought, you have to go through the thought process of, is it fact or is it fiction? Did I just make this up? Did this incident really occur? Is this from a prior experience? Is this a trigger, or did I just make this all up in my head? The second thing is don't fight it. When you have an intrusive thought, just accept it for what it is. Don't try to make it go away. Eventually it will go away. It's like anything. If you think about it too much, then it's never going to go away, because now you've thought about this one thought that's now turned into 5 other thoughts. And then those 5 other thoughts have taken a mind of their own. And now you got 25 thoughts in your head when you started with one. So don't think about pushing it out. It eventually will go away. Just start doing something else. I know a lot of people, when they have intrusive thoughts, they sing a song. So maybe sing a song that comes to your head, like your favorite song, a good song, not a negative song. Sing a song, maybe recite a poem. I don't know. Yeah, recite a poem, sing a song. If you're in a house like me, I try to start cleaning. I usually will put music on so that I can not push the thought out, but just preoccupy myself with something else. The third thing is don't judge yourself, right? Know that having a strange or disturbing thought doesn't indicate that something is wrong with you. Having an intrusive thought does not make you a serial killer. Okay, you are not a sociopath. You're not a psychopath. You did not necessarily have a mental health disorder. Do not try to diagnose yourself. Do not go on to WebMD and put in your symptoms and try to diagnose yourself. Understand that, again, 6 million people in America have intrusive thoughts. Don't try to push them out. Just let it go. It will eventually go away. And if it doesn't, and those intrusive thoughts begin to build up, you may want to go check yourself in somewhere to like a crisis center. All jokes aside, but I'm very serious. So let's talk about 7 common intrusive thoughts. There are 7. So I'm going to give you guys some of them, and then I want to show you guys a video of what intrusive thoughts actually look like and how fast they occur. So there are many types of intrusive thoughts that can lead to feelings of fear, shame, guilt, and distress. 7 common examples of unwanted intrusive thoughts are below. Y'all can't see it. I can see it. So let me tell you. The thought of hurting a baby or a child. So we talked about that. Women that have a newborn, the hormone levels are crazy. They have postpartum. So if you're a new parent, you may have experienced intrusive thoughts about your baby's well-being. Your thoughts may even be about accidentally or purposely harming your baby. Nearly half of new parents experience this type of intrusive thought. So thinking about your baby being hurt is understandably scary, right? For any parent, it's a scary thing for parents who often feel terrible for having these thoughts. So if any woman out there that's suffered from postpartum depression has ever had a thought of like harming your baby, or a baby within the last, I think they're saying postpartum could last for women. So before it would be like, oh, under a year postpartum would last for a woman. Studies have now showed that postpartum can last up until about 3 to 5 years after the child is already born. So if you have a friend or someone you know that just had a child, please check in on them. I remember when I had my son, thank God I did not suffer from postpartum. But I remember having like a nurse come out to my house, like right after I had my son. And I remember her like doing a wellness check. And of course she had to like check my house and see where the baby was sleeping. And, you know, did I have enough milk and all of those things. And I was very grateful and thankful that postpartum was not something I suffered from, because you hear these crazy, wild stories all the time of women that suffer from postpartum. And then because they can't control their intrusive thoughts, unfortunately, they take it too far and they may harm, kill, whatever their baby, because they literally have all of these thoughts in their head and they cannot control them. And so I was very grateful to not have those. But if you know someone that has had postpartum or currently suffering from postpartum, make sure you check in, men and women. Make sure you check in on that new parent, that mommy. Even if it is not her first kid, every child is different. You may get postpartum with one child and not the other. You may have 3 kids and get none of them with your first 2, and then that last one you get postpartum. And so we want to make sure that we're checking in on people that have newborns, because it literally happens very quickly. Number 2, thoughts of doing something violent or illegal. So intrusive thoughts about doing something illegal or doing something violent towards yourself or others are also common. These are likely not things that you want to do. and you probably feel upset by these thoughts, but having them can make you question yourself. So violent intrusive thoughts can be disturbing. If you are unable to brush them off, you definitely need to seek help. I know so many buzzwords when you have a podcast or you're doing anything online. So if you are having violent intrusive thoughts about unaliving yourself, because we can't use the S word anymore. If you are having those type of intrusive thoughts where you just cannot shake them, please, 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 I encourage you to get in contact with I guess I could say this because it's the website, the suicide hotline. I think their number is like 988. They made it super short now. You can text it, you can call. It is 3 numbers, 988, and that is the suicide prevention hotline, where you can call and you can talk to somebody live. You could text somebody. If you're like me, you don't really like being on the phone, you're more of a texter. You can text someone in that moment and they will respond immediately. We want to make sure that we're always checking in with people because we don't want anyone to unalive themselves. If you're having an intrusive thought about doing something illegal, like, I don't know, robbing a bank or something like that, try to just, again, distinguish what that thought is. Is it fact? Is it fiction? Is it something you would ever do under any other circumstance? Does it make sense? Think about the consequences of that action if you decide to do this illegal thing. Even if you decide to commit this violent crime against yourself or someone else, think about the consequences. Again, you have to weigh it out. Check and balance. Number 3, thoughts that cause doubt. This is a big one for a lot of people. So doubts are one of the most common types of intrusive thoughts. The doubts can be about big or small aspects of your life. For example, an intrusive thought might cause you to question your relationship or your sexual orientation, or they may cause you to doubt whether you turned off the stove. Did you lock the door? Did you send a text to the right person? I will say firsthand that this is me. I suffer often. Well, I have anxiety, but I suffer often from the intrusive thought of doubt, an intrusive thought that causes doubt. I literally will be in bed. I'll cook. I'll be in bed. And then I'll lay down and I'll be like, did I turn the oven off? Did I turn the stove off? Knowing daggone well, I turned the stove off. And so then I'll try to go to sleep. And my brain is like, no, we're not going to sleep until you get up to go check to make sure the oven is off. You know how you be all nice and comfortable in bed? You all cozy. You don't want to get up. You don't want to do nothing. Yeah. So unfortunately, the way those intrusive thoughts work, you start to think of all the worst case scenario. Oh my God, I didn't turn the stove off. Oh my God, the house is going to burn down. Oh my God, it's going to be a gas leak. Oh my God, I'm going to die in my sleep. Like, it just, all of those things begin to spiral with intrusive thoughts. So for me, to avoid going down that path, what I do is when I have that thought that maybe I did not turn anything off, I get my behind up and I go check. That's what I do. I get up and I go check to make sure that I indeed did go turn off the stove. Trying to sleep when you have those intrusive thoughts is a lot, because again, it's not going to allow you to have any rest, any peace. So there's that. So I want to show a video of kind of what it looks like when you are suffering with an intrusive thought. It is a short. It's short. Let's do this one first. Yeah.
Hey, what if everyone's secretly listening to your thoughts? They can't. Yeah, but how do you know for sure? I bet it would hurt if you put your fingers in there. Yeah, probably. You should do it. No. Okay, I love you. I'll see you soon. They didn't say I love you too. So what? Obviously they don't like you anymore, so they invited you over to break up with you. Thanks. Hey, what if everyone's secretly listening to your thoughts?
So literally, that is how an intrusive thought happens. It literally happens where your brain has you second guessing and doubting everything. Like that short conversation of, oh my God, they didn't say they love you back, so that means they don't love you. Or, just crazy things, the way your mind plays tricks on you. So we went over the first 3. Let's continue. So the fourth intrusive thought is unexpected reminders about painful past events. So some people experience unwanted intrusive thoughts related to past trauma. These intrusive thoughts are often triggered by something about the person's environment. So, for example, a certain smell or place might bring up an unwanted memory. However, the trigger might not always be that obvious. So, when we talk about trauma, we talk about triggers. I always encourage you guys to know your triggers. Know what bothers you. Know that if you go to a certain place or you smell a certain food or you're in a closed space, you're in an elevator, what is your trigger? It is nothing worse than being in a situation or a position where you do not know your triggers and you start to get upset and worked up. It might look like you spazzing out to other people, but you're simply just having an anxiety attack or a panic attack. That's how your body is responding, your mind is responding. It's nothing worse than being in a space that is triggering and you feel unsafe because you are in that space. So please make sure you know what your triggers are. You learn what your triggers are. One, I'm an advocate for therapy, so take your behind to therapy. But as you get upset about anything and you begin to have intrusive thoughts, I always tell people to take a step back. And I try to do a timeline, right? So if you are triggered by something, what were you doing prior to you being triggered? And then if they still can't figure out what the trigger is, then I try to go a little further back. Okay, so prior to you doing this event, before you got in your car, what were you doing before you got in your car? Or before you went into the house, what were you doing? Where were you coming from? So we try to take a step back and we try to walk back and figure out what led up to this response, to the crying, to the, whatever the outburst may be, to the anger, to the mood change, the mood switch up. And so you have to be able to identify what your triggers are. It is very important because if you do not know what your triggers are, when it comes to intrusive thoughts, they unfortunately will get the best of you, especially when you've had past events or past trauma that has occurred for you. Just when you thought you've gotten over it or you've healed from that thing, because again, we're never fully healed, we're always healing. Just when you think that you are on a journey of healing, there may be something that just springs out of nowhere, and now here you are. So making sure that you are intact with your triggers so that when those intrusive thoughts come, again, you can play the game of, is this fact or is this fiction? Is this something I would usually think of or usually do? Or is my mind, as they say, playing tricks on me? Worry about catching germs or serious illness is number 5. So concerns about contamination. I'm sure we've all encountered people like this, right? So concerns about contamination or germs are common intrusive thoughts. Very, very, very common. This could mean worrying about getting sick or spreading illness, even when the risk is low. These intrusive thoughts can lead to excessive concerns about your health and result in behaviors like excessive hand washing or avoiding other people. So we all know that there were people out there, like, not saying that the pandemic wasn't serious, because it was. A lot of people died during the heart of the pandemic from pre-existing conditions, and then unfortunately catching COVID and it just spiraling from there. But we all know those people that just like might have took it a little too far when COVID was happening, coming outside with hazmat suits on and just not wanting to breathe the same air as you, touch anything that you've touched. We still know people riding around in their cars with masks on, but it's just them in the car. We all know those people. So people like that may have the concern that they're going to be contaminated, or that they're going to catch some type of germ, some type of illness, or they're going to spread it to others. And so their minds will begin to play tricks with them and say, oh, well, if you touch this, you do this, you're going to die, or you're going to this, or you're going to that. Like, it becomes very obsessive in the thought process. I'm not saying don't wash your hands. Please wash your hands. Please wash your hands. Because the fact that when we was in COVID, we had to go back to telling y'all to wash your hands and sing happy birthday. Deandra, that was you. You was out there in the hazmat suit, because I need to know. Yeah, talk to me. Tell me what you was doing. You was in a hazmat suit, or are you still driving around with your mask on, Deandra? And so this is the thing. The COVID numbers are starting to spike back up. But every time you look up, there's a different version of COVID. Like every time you look up, it's a new strand of COVID. So all these vaccines that they forced upon people to get don't even help with the vaccine for the new strand. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. At this point, I'm waiting for the aliens to come and take us. I keep telling y'all that. They don't got to harvest my brain. I'm going to go voluntarily. Me and my son, all I ask is that you allow me to grab my charger. That's it. I don't got to do too much. But again, you don't want it to be so much of an intrusive thought where now you are doing things like excessive hand washing, and avoiding other people. You're going to get sick. That is just the way our bodies are designed. I mean, I'm not saying walk into a room with people that are snot. No, I'm not saying, dude, don't do none of that. Hey, Jay Boogie, don't do none of that. Okay. It's not what I'm saying, but please stop riding in the car. If it's just you with your mask on, please stop doing it. You look stupid. I'm sorry. I hate to be the one to tell you, but it looks foolish because it's just you. And then you breathing in whatever germs you already got. So, or the people that get me is the people that be driving in their cars with the mask on, but then get out and smoke a cigarette. Your lungs are already contaminated. You might as well just go on and breathe that air in. So, okay, Deandra, I get that, right? So it became such a norm, right? That if you just had your mask on, sometimes you forgot that you had your mask on. I know for me, especially during the summertime, my up in here where the mask would be, my face would break out really bad. And I was like, oh, this is bullshit. I don't like this. So as soon as I got into a building, I would rip it off. If I got to work and I got to my cubicle, I would rip that mask off so fast. And I always had extra masks because I'm like, oh, I got to change these. We're not going to just keep wearing the same mask all day. You're not going to do that. Like your breath is in it. You breathed in it. You probably didn't sneeze and cough. You yawned. You had lunch, and that's that same breath that's in your mask. Change your mask if that's what y'all doing. If y'all wearing them in your cars and stuff, just change them because I know they stink. They don't smell good. But what I'm saying is, don't allow the intrusive thought to play so much on your mind that it now turns into some form of OCD, where now you can't tell fact from fiction. I know a lot of movies are out there about like contamination and germs. I know because I watch all of them. Like what's that one movie? Is my favorite, Contagion. Like they make movies like that, and you be sitting here thinking, like, you know what? That's definitely something the government would do. Like I could see them doing that. Don't allow that intrusive thought to spiral, and now you are out here just a conspiracy theorist. Don't relax, not too much. Concerns about doing something embarrassing is number 6. You may have reoccurring thoughts about embarrassing yourself in front of other people. You worries maybe about shouting or saying or doing something inappropriate in public. Sometimes these intrusive thoughts can be related to a past memory, like feeling embarrassed as a child and fear that a similar thing could happen again. So I know sometimes like with intrusive thoughts, when it comes to like thinking that you're going to do something embarrassing or you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you just got these brand new hills and oh my God, I'm going to walk and I'm going to trip, I'm falling on my face. And then now those thoughts just spiral. Or public speaking. Public speaking is a really big one where intrusive thoughts can really like play a part, where you are literally trying to like hype yourself up, but you're talking yourself down all at the same time. Like you're trying to like, yeah, I got this. But what if I stumble over a word? They don't know. These people don't know you. That's why they always tell people that do public speaking to do the trick where you look at everybody as naked. That doesn't work for everybody. You can't look at everybody as naked because then you start having thoughts about that. So it's really up to the person on how they want to handle it. But public speaking is a really big one where they may have an intrusive thought like, what if I'm too loud? Or what if I'm not loud enough? Or again, what if I stumble over a word? Or What if I just skip past a whole paragraph because I didn't see it because I was reading too fast and my brain was like, so your brain will start to allow you to have all of these thoughts. And so then you have to make a decision again in that moment. Is it fact or is it fiction? So I want to show another video before I get to number 7. This is what intrusive thoughts look like for people with OCD. Now, my video already started playing, so I'm going to play it twice just so you can catch it.
Be so terrible. Yeah, that would be really terrible. It's weird that you're even thinking about it, to be honest. Maybe it's you do want to kick the duck. I really don't. I really don't want to do that. I know, yeah. That's why I think we should really move away from the duck just to be on the safe side. Okay, let's go. Hey, what? What if you lose control and kick that duck? What are you talking about? I don't want to kick the duck. I know, that's why it would be so terrible. Yeah, that would be really terrible. It's weird that you're even thinking about it, to be honest. Maybe it's you do want to kick the duck. I really don't. I really don't want to do that. I know, yeah. That's why I think we should really move away from the duck just to be on the safe side. Okay, let's go.
That is what an intrusive thought can look like for someone with OCD. And so the whole purpose of that video was she's sitting on a park bench, probably feeding the ducks or looking at the ducks. Some people like to sit by ponds and just, be one with nature. The intrusive thought came out of nowhere and said, wouldn't it be horrible if you lost control and kicked that duck? She wasn't thinking about kicking the duck. Why would she kick the duck? She's at the pond. She want to see the ducks. She liked the ducks. But intrusive thoughts will come so heavy that now you are sitting here thinking about harming something again or yourself. And now you are thinking, what if you lose control when you were never thinking that before? So that is kind of what OCD, intrusive thoughts looks like for someone that has OCD. Again, an intrusive thought for someone that is contemplating unaliving themselves could often, it could kind of look and sound like you are having these ruminating intrusive thoughts that tell you it's, it would be better off if you weren't here, or you're such a burden on people. Things like that, or you should do this to feel better. Whatever that thing is. Again, it could be unaliving yourself. It could be cutting yourself. And so your brain will have those intrusive thoughts and you will sit there and have that battle back and forth. And unfortunately, as we have seen with people we either know personally or a lot of some of our really favorite celebrities that have unalived themselves, we're struggling with intrusive thoughts. The thing about intrusive thoughts is it is not designated to a certain race or age group or gender or sexual orientation. It is not designated to anything like that. And so if you are suffering from intrusive thoughts, again, remember, we are not trying to push those thoughts out unless it is a thought where you are trying to harm yourself or others, unalive yourself. Yes, if you get to that place or that point where that thought it will not go away, you cannot shake it, I do strongly suggest that you call a suicide hotline if that is the thought that you are having. Again, the number is 988. You can text it. Find you a therapist. Find you one that specializes in cognitive behavior therapy. As I've told you guys before, cognitive behavior therapy, the way I describe it to my clients, is the way cognitive behavior therapy is supposed to work is you think, therefore you do. So if I can get up here and figure out what's happening up here, what's your triggers, what's happening for you, what's going on, then we can get to the root of the behavior. A lot of people like to use just straight behavior therapy where they're only focused on the behavior, but they don't care about what comes before the behavior. So people that decide to unalive themselves, let's say they attempt multiple attempts to unalive themselves. They go to therapy and they're telling the therapist this, I've tried to unalive myself a couple times. If you are practicing behavior therapy, you are only focused on the behavior. You're only focused on them trying to unalive themselves. cognitive behavior therapy, which is actually one of my favorite therapies to utilize. But again, it's different on client to client basis because I need to know why you are trying to unalive yourself. I need to know, what were those thoughts? What were you doing? Again, what are your triggers? What were you doing that led to that thought? Or were you just sitting there minding your business and those thoughts decided to pop up? Because that is a very real thing. It definitely does happen where you could literally sit there. I always try to have transparent moments with you guys. I told you guys I suffer from anxiety. I suffer really bad from anxiety. So much so that I have intrusive thoughts, usually when it's time for me to go to sleep. My intrusive thoughts it depends on what day it is, honestly. But again, my intrusive thought could be like, oh my God, did I turn off the oven? Oh my God, did I turn off the stove? Did I lock my doors? And that's another big one for me. Like, did I lock my doors? Imagine I have cameras all over my house. Did I lock my doors? Before I got into my car accident, before I lost my car, that would be another thing for me. Where it's like, I know I locked my car door, but my mind is telling me you didn't lock it, or the doors somehow came unlocked by themselves, or just crazy stuff. And that's what I'm saying, Big Exclusive. Like, it happens. It's crazy, right? The amount of stuff that the amount of tricks that your brain will play on you. And so what I would do is, like, I'm talking about, y'all, I would be comfortable in my bed. I am under the covers, scarf on head, wrap bonnet. I got my LED lights on. I turn them on dark at night. Helps me sleep. I put my white noise on. I do red LED lights so it can be really dark in my room because I can't really sleep with light. And I have blackout drapes on my window in my room. So I need it to be extra dark. Like, I'm that person. It's gonna be so dark in here. When the daytime comes, you're not gonna know it's daytime. So don't ask to spend the night because you're gonna be messed up. You think the time going back and forward mess you up. Yeah, my room gonna mess you up. And so I will literally be in the bed, comfortable. The mood is right. The setting is good. And then I get those thoughts where it's like, you didn't turn the oven off, or you forgot to lock your car. And so I would get up at this like 11 o'clock at night, like go to sleep, because I sat there and battled with that thought for at least 30 to 45 minutes before I was like, all right, enough's enough. You're not going to get any sleep. And so then I end up getting up. Now I'm downstairs, and I'm unlocking my doors, and I'm grabbing my car keys, and then I'm beeping. I didn't hear it. Let me beep again. You heard it the first time, because those are the intrusive thoughts that are telling you, they're giving you self-doubt. And so that would be a thing that I would do a whole bunch of times. Then now I gotta go check the stove because I'm downstairs, right? You didn't even cook tonight. Like, the stove is not on. Like, why? So when I tell you guys, it is a real thing. Having anxiety does not help with intrusive thoughts because you become super anxious and worried about things that, again, are not realistic. And so the same advice that I'm giving you guys of having that conversation with yourself, is this false, or is this fact? Is this fiction? Is this like fact? You have to have that conversation with yourself. You have to think, if this is an abnormal thought, is this something that I would usually think of, or I would usually do? Again, don't try to push it out because it only makes it worse. The more you think about pushing it out, you're going to get 10 more thoughts that are going to help it stay in. So if you're like me, you love music, maybe turn on a song, start singing that song in your head, or I don't know. I'm good for going on Amazon and ordering, putting stuff in the cart that I know I don't need. Like, I don't need to spend $400 a day on Amazon. It's unnecessary. But I'm going to, because I may have a thought and it's like, okay, I'm up, and now my anxiety is getting the best of me. My intrusive thoughts are getting the best of me. And now I'm up and I'm staring at the ceiling, and now my brain is literally going back and forth, and it is allowing me, it's a spillover of, oh my God, okay, tomorrow when I go to work, I got to do this. Oh my goodness, I didn't do this today. So I got to put that on my checklist, and then and it's just like, go to sleep, go to bed, good night. So for all of my people out there that suffer with intrusive thoughts, where your brain sometimes gets the best of you, I strongly encourage you. One, again, if it is something that is harmful to you, where you're thinking about committing violence or something illegal, depending on what it is. I'm a great getaway driver. I'm just kidding. But seriously, if it is something where you're having an intrusive thought and you cannot shake that thought, and it is causing you to feel that you want to harm yourself or harm someone else, please reach out to Again, a suicide hotline, 988. You can text it, you can call, you can go on their website. They have a lot of literature, things you can read through, testimonies, live chats, people that you can speak with. There are local crisis centers all around the city of Philadelphia. You just have to find the one that is in your neighborhood. Talk to someone. If you feel like you are alone, find a trusted friend. Find that trusted person that you can talk to. That's not going to judge your thoughts. That's not going to be like, "Girl, what's wrong with you? You crazy boy." If you don't find that person that you trust, that is going to listen, not just hear you to respond, but they're going to listen to process with you. They're going to go through that emotion with you. Because sometimes that's all we need, right? We just need somebody to listen. We don't actually need people to always respond or feel like they have to give us advice on something. Sometimes we just want people to listen to us. We done had a bad day at work. These kids are stressing us out. Okay. The man ain't acting right. Sometimes we just need to be able to talk to people and get off our chest and out of our brain. I call it brain dumping. But we need to get off our brain everything that has occurred for the weekend, that occurred just in that day. So I strongly encourage you that if this is something that you are struggling with, you are battling with, where it becomes severe to the point where you, again, are thinking about unaliving yourself or harming someone else, please make sure that you seek some type of help, a therapist, suicide hotline, a trusted friend. I'm gonna let y'all know now, I'm not that friend. Okay. My phone going do not disturb at a certain time. Like my work phone going do not disturb at 7:45 and it officially cuts off at 8. My personal phone, 9:45, cuts off at 10. So I'm not that trusted friend. No, I'm just kidding. I have my circle of friends that if they call me, they can get through. But seriously, make sure that you guys have that person that you can dump those things onto. Because what we don't want is you to have intrusive thoughts and then they spiral. Now, the last one, of the 7 most common intrusive thoughts, you would never believe this one, is intrusive sexual thoughts. So just put it out there. You are not alone if you have unwanted thoughts related to sexual acts that are considered taboo. Some people have intrusive thoughts about having sex with children. Now, they need to be unalived. Let me say that. I'm going to say it as a parent, as a therapist. I don't like that. Don't have no damn thoughts about no kids, okay? But there are people out there that have intrusive thoughts about having sex with children. Even though they would never act on those thoughts, they still have them. It can be very difficult to talk about these thoughts, which may prevent you from reaching out for help. So I'm not encouraging anybody to have those type of thoughts, but for the people that do have those thoughts, please make sure that you are talking to somebody. Don't phone a friend, phone a therapist, okay? Phone somebody that is a professional that can help you, that can get to the root cause. Again, cognitive behavior therapy, where we can figure out what is going on up here, so that it doesn't come out here. So again, you have cognitive behavior therapy, you have behavior therapy, you have cognitive therapy. Cognitive therapy is all about the brain and all about the mind and how the mind works and how your thoughts work. And so if you get a therapist that is specialized in that, you're having these intrusive sexual thoughts. Again, you know that you would never act on them, but for some reason you're having those thoughts. Please, 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 please seek help. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get canceled. I know this is the cancel culture, this generation. So those are the 7 most common intrusive thoughts. So again, thoughts of hurting a baby or a child, thoughts of doing something violent or illegal, thoughts that cause self-doubt, unexpected reminders about painful past events, so anything traumatic. Number 5, worry about catching germs or any serious illness, concerns about doing something embarrassing. And number 7, intrusive sexual thoughts. Please make sure you are checking in with yourself when you come across an intrusive thought. Please make sure that it is not a reality for you. Again, fact or fiction. Is this something that I would normally do or think about? Or is this something that has just taken over my daggone brain or trying to take over my brain? Remember, with intrusive thoughts, you cannot push them out, but you can do something else. Go clean, listen to music, turn on a comedy special, take your brain somewhere else. That's That's all I got for Intrusive Thoughts, guys. Thank you for joining Melanated Vibrations on Mondays at 7. Make sure you come back tomorrow for the Big Exclusive podcast at 7 with Big Exclusive, Mr. Angry OG himself, and Top Flight, where they going to just choose straight violence. It's going to be dusty. We never know what they're going to talk about. You just got to be there. It's one of those things you just got to be there, right? And then we're going to jump on over to Thursdays with the Ant Money Experience. My brother, Ants Rock more. Okay. And he choose violence too. Like, I feel like the Big Exclusive podcast that rubbed off on him. I feel like we all dusty in our own way on this network, but I know he choose violence because he got a segment in his show where he puts on a bandana. Like, he literally puts on a bandana, and then don't let him have no wine. Don't let him be drinking the wines. Okay? Listen, what I'm telling you is we're going to bring you straight dust. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for the Big Exclusive podcast. We're going to go and take a break on Wednesdays because that's hump day. Go on and get yourself some humping on, or go have a happy hour, or whatever it is that you need to do to get yourself through the rest of the week. And then you're going to come back here on Thursday for the Ant Money Experience. I love you guys as always. I will see you guys in the comments for the Big Exclusive podcast, the Ant Money Experience. And then I'm going to catch you guys back here live next Monday at 7. Bye.